All right, boys and girls. So I have here a page from, actually, it's two pages from our science textbook. And I chose a section about energy. I chose this section to read with you today because in our science standards, one of the things that we were supposed to learn about this year was renewable and non-renewable energy sources. Now, we're not going to be able to cover that this year since school kind of abruptly ended. And also next year, when the science standards change, this is no longer going to be a third grade standard. But I thought you guys might be interested in it, so I wanted to read with you about it today. So the purpose of this reading is both to become informed about energy and how we use it today, and also to look for nonfiction text features in our reading and see how they help us better understand what we're reading. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to read these first two pages, and I'm going to be thinking aloud as I read them about the different text features and how they're helping me. And then on the next two pages, I'm going to give you more of a chance to chime in. So as we're reading this page, listen to how I think aloud. And then on the next two pages, you're going to be practicing that thinking. Hopefully, you're able to watch this with a parent or an older sibling who could help you out. So when I give you a question or some time to think, take that time to talk with your parent or your other learning coach that's there with you and think about the answer before I keep talking, okay? So it's kind of like in class when we have that time to turn and talk to a partner, but hopefully your partner is with you at home. So let's start out here. So we have a big heading right here. It says energy today. So I know that what I'm going to be reading about in this section is about energy today, like now. So let's start reading. There's one last key to a healthy world. It starts with the sun, which is the source of almost all the Earth's energy. Many millions of years ago, the world was covered with thick, dense forests. The temperature was hotter, the planet wetter. There were plants with giant leaves almost everywhere, and the oceans were brimming with plants and sea creatures. Oh, now I see right here, this text looks different. It's kind of bigger. It's not as big as the main heading, but it's big and kind of bold. So I think I need to pay attention to this to know what I'm going to be reading about in this next section. This is actually called a subheading. So here's our main heading up top, and down here we have a subheading letting us know what the next part of the text is about. All living things die and decompose. As land and aquatic life decayed, they broke up into smaller pieces. The pressure of new layers of decay put more and more weight on the old layers. The intense heat and pressure formed coal, natural gas, and oil. These are called fossil fuels. Okay, now I see down here, my text is kind of changing again. Now I've got a box here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit so we can see the whole box. Got a box, and I've got another what looks like subheading. It says, what are fossil fuels? You know what? I was just wondering that because I read in this last section, it says that coal, natural gas, and oil were formed by heat and pressure. And we call these things fossil fuels, but exactly what are fossil fuels? So I want to answer that question. I'm going to read this section of the text. It takes millions and millions of years to make oil, coal, or natural gas. When plants and animals decay, the Earth's heat and pressure change them. New layers push old layers deeper. Some of the packed layers become oil or coal. Even more heat and pressure turns fossils into natural gas. The sun's energy is trapped in all these fossil fuels. Burning releases the stored energy. Oh, okay. So now I understand what fossil fuels are. They're things like oil, coal, and natural gas, and they're where the energy that's stored from the sun can be, and these things can be burned, and we can get that energy back out from where it was stored from the sun millions of years ago. That's really interesting. Now, also here to help me understand this process of making fossil fuels, we have an illustration. So in this illustration, we've got the picture parts. We also have a caption here. The caption says digging deep. It takes a very long time to change decaying matter to coal or oil. Follow the darkest layer. That's where the fossil fuels are. Oh, okay. So let's look in this illustration. It says right here, this is 350 million years ago. Wow, that is a long time ago. So I'm going to follow the dark layer because the caption told me to do that. So it looks like right here, the dark layer is pretty high up. It's pretty much just, that layer of soil where the plants are growing and things. But then some time passes, and now that dark layer has gotten lower. It looks like these plants kind of died and stuff fell on top of this dark layer and pushed it down lower. Now look at this. Even more things piled up on top of my dark layer. And look, my dark layer is looks like it's getting smushed. I bet that's that pressure they're talking about, getting smushed down and getting deeper and deeper. Whoa, now look at this last one. It says a coal mine today. There's another huge layer on top. So I have to go down all the way down to this fourth layer. And now my dark layer has really been smushed down very thin compared to where it was in the beginning. And it looks like they've dug a tunnel all the way down to that layer so they can pull out that coal or oil. In this case, it's coal because this is a coal mine. And then we can bring that coal up to the surface. And it looks like there's even little train cars up here. And I've seen trains go by. I live in Ashland, and sometimes I see trains go through, and they're full of coal. So they must be taking it somewhere where they can burn that coal to get energy. Let's see if we learn some more about that on the next page. Wow, that diagram there was really helpful so that I better understand how those fossil fuels are made. Got a little happy with my scrolling. All right. So now I have another subheading here, and it's called Today's Most Used Energy Sources. So I guess I'm going to learn about our most used energy sources in this section. Look around you. The world we live in depends on fossil fuels. The bus that brought you to school, the family car, the airplanes flying overhead, even the soles of your sneakers, all involve fossil fuels. Well, wait, fuels? Yeah, I know, like a bus and a car and airplane use fuel. But the soles of my sneakers? Huh, I think I need to learn a little more about how that involves fossil fuels. There's a big problem. Fossil fuels are running out. What? They're running out? Oh man, that's not good. We use them for a lot of things. They are non-renewable resources. Look at this word. It is in red, it is big, it is bold. That right there, folks, is an important word. I need to know what a non-renewable resource is in order to understand what the author is telling me in this section. Let's read and see if I can figure out what it means from the text here. They are non-renewable resources. Once the Earth's supply of coal, oil, and natural gas are used up, there will be no more. Oh, so non-renewable. Non means like not. So they are not renewable. I can't get new ones. Once I use it, it's going to be gone forever. Wow, so once we use up that coal, oil, and natural gas, it's going to be gone forever. All right, well, let's see what this heading or subheading right here says. It says hard to find and dangerous to use. It's getting more and more difficult to find fossil fuels. Coal must be dug up from deep within the earth. It's a dangerous job because coal mines can collapse, trapping workers. Oh, that does sound dangerous. Many oil deposits lie deep beneath the seas. Oil rigs perch on rough seas where deadly oil spills can happen in the blink of an eye, causing terrible damage to sea, beach, and marsh life. Oh, wow, I'm making a connection to that in what I've seen in the news before. I remember hearing about an oil rig that was out in the ocean and one of the pipes broke and oil spilled everywhere and they had to close down beaches and animals died and it was a really bad thing that happened. So yeah, that is very dangerous pulling that oil out from the ocean when it might spill and kill the animals and destroy the beaches. As fossil fuels burn, they give off gases that are harmful to the environment. Scientists everywhere agree that it's important to find new sources of energy that are easily renewed and which will not harm us. Luckily, there are answers: the sun, the wind, and moving water. Wow, so it does sound like these fossil fuels are pretty dangerous. And I learned that they take millions of years to form, so we don't have millions of years to wait. So we might run out of them. We need to think about some other things to use for energy. All right, now before I leave this page, I do want to take a look at some of my captions and little extras that I have here on the page. So I'm going to scroll back up, and I see there's a little section here that goes with this illustration. It says it's a link to the past. Until the 1800s, most people used wood for heating and cooking. Wood is a renewable resource. Oh, that's different than non-renewable. Renewable. Huh. So if it's renewable, it must mean that you can get more of it, since non-renewable means you can't get more. All right, that makes sense. So wood is a renewable resource, but you must keep planting new trees. True. With the growth of cities, which have few trees, and the invention of machines such as cars, fossil fuels became our major source of energy. Yeah, you can't grow a lot of trees in a city, and then you couldn't really burn wood in your car engine to be able to go very far. So I can see how we had to change from burning wood for our energy needs. Oop. Now let's scroll down here and look at the captions with these photographs here. So our coal mine had a caption. It says drilling for coal. A Virginia coal miner searches for seams of coal deep beneath the Earth's surface. Oh, that's interesting for me to be able to see what it looks like inside a coal mine. Definitely doesn't look like the most comfortable place to work. And then I can actually see what coal looks like because we have a photograph of that here. And it's interesting for me to hear that in Virginia we have coal mines. So I know that's something that's going on right here in our state. Now let's look down here with these oil rigs. It says offshore oil rigs dig deep beneath the seas. It's getting harder and harder to find oil and natural gas. All right, so that caption right there gives me some more information about these oil rigs. And I love seeing the photograph of what that oil rig is. Without seeing that photograph, I never, have seen one in real life. So that gives me some more information about what they look like. Not the most beautiful thing to see out there in the ocean. All right. So that was my turn. I was thinking about what I was reading. I was thinking about the headings, the subheadings, the bold words, my captions, my photographs, my diagrams. All of these things help me to better understand what fossil fuels are and where we get our energy that we use today. Now, in our next section, I'm going to invite you to do some thinking. This one, you've got a new